Hello, everybody. It's Wow Ergonomics. I'm sorry if we're 1 minute late. That's just because we needed to sort out a technical glitch that our guest was having this morning with said device that they were trying to navigate their way into the studio with. That's because not all technology works with all technology. Safely to say that's the trouble with modern day life, isn't it? You know, you don't know. But you know, I can see now, having just popped back into LinkedIn land, we are absolutely live. Stephen, how are you this week? Where are you coming from? You got another slightly different view there?
Yeah, I've moved. So I've moved from being in the yet again. So I've moved from I was in the loft at some point for some of the earlier shows. Then I've been in the kitchen. Now I'm in the playroom. Hence why, you can see sort of a lot of empty cans of Coke, a bottle of Prime on the you can see there, which apparently is this sort of energy water drink that all the kids are after. And
Energy. Now, hang on. let's just back up and go back there with exactly what you just said there.
Yeah.
Energy water drink. Now, I mean, all drinks contain water.
Yeah.
Right. But are you saying that this is an energy drink that is water?
Apparently so. So apparently it's now it's been created by two YouTubers. Is it?
Oh yes.
Is it KSI and
KSI, who's also a musician?
Yeah. And what you call who's the other guy? So apparently, like all the kids are after it. As soon as it comes into stock in Asda or whatever, it's like gone at 6 a.m. So you can see there is a bottle. No, that shoulder. There is. Oh no, there's an empty bottle on that shelf. So being proudly displayed.
Just as I got hold of one of them.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It tasted horrible, and I paid £7 for it, but I still got one. To be honest, that was actually my fault because I got sick of him nagging, and one of the kids at school had got loads of them, and he came home and said, "Oh, he'll sell me one for £7." I said, "Right, absolute one-off. Don't you ever ask again, but it'll shut you up. There's £7." So I did actually.
Wow.
No, bad parent.
Wow. Oh well, look, we're on YouTube, so you know, who knows? We should make our own water.
Or we could just get KSI to send us a crate, because if we can sell them at £7 a bottle, Graham, we'll be laughing.
Absolutely. You know, send us a free crate, KSI, if you're watching, and please. You know, we'll try it out, and then we'll sell the rest, because that's phenomenal.
Hence why I'm sort of, this is my new permanent position. So the desk is at the opposite end of the playroom to where the sort of the gaming part is. So I'm at the other end. So, and if you remember last week, I was very easily distracted by the window cleaner and the FedEx driver. So I've shut the blinds today, so no distractions. Well, I'll try not to get distracted during the show anyway.
Okay, cool. Well, look, there was a great message there. So let's, in all seriousness, well done, KSI and whoever else it was. You know, you do need to stay hydrated out there. If you're playing games for hours on end and you're just sitting there, you do need to stay hydrated. It's important. And also, if you're taking on fluid on a regular basis, it will force you to go to the toilet, and that actually gets you up off your backside for a while. And that's good as well. So, you know, from an ergonomic point of view, fantastic. Well done.
Well done.
Encouraging everybody to drink water.
And well done for your bank balance as well.
Yeah, and I just wish that I'd thought of it.
Yeah.
But obviously, you've got to be famous on YouTube first. We're just infamous. So in our own back garden. So there, you know, we're never going to come up with that.
No.
But there we go. And we're back, as I say, with Wow Ergonomics. And I'm so pleased just to bring up a couple of little things, starting points. We have got our own website for all of you that didn't realize that. You can go to wowergonomics.com at any time, and you can watch back this episode, which is streaming there live at the moment now on wowergonomics.com. There's all of the previous episodes from the last couple of months as video feeds, and there's also a link there to this on Spotify. So if you want to find the Spotify version of this, where you can listen to it as you drive along through the country lanes, you can find that there as well. Not only that, I've started putting links there as well to previous guests, so you can go and check out their websites and everything else, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And here comes our guest right now in the background. He's at the moment, he's just a little bell, but maybe we'll sort it out. But also, last week, you may remember, we also started the wonderful Wow Ergonomics Instagram account.
Yeah.
And that's just going to give you an update on how that's doing.
Okay.
Over the previous
How many
week.
million? How many million followers?
How
have
many
we got
million
going?
followers? Well, clearly, not anything
Okay.
like that. But in the first week, we've picked up 25 followers. Well done, everybody, for following in the past week. There we are, 25 followers. If you can see that, there you go. And if you go on there today and follow us, it's our Instagram handle is Wow Ergonomics. So you should be able to follow that. You will find that there's a little video of me from today, and we've also got in the story we're covering in the stories on there. We're covering a couple of little things. One is a story about. Let me just tap on it. The McDonald's gaming chair.
Yes.
So I'd love you to tap onto that one and tell us whether you want us to discuss it or not. The thing is, we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And the other one is I've also set it up as a proper game. Where is Paul's van? So I'm pleased to see that Paul's van, the idea, the concept, the game that was talked about first and foremost on this show is now starting to happen on certain social media platforms. But we're putting it on Instagram for you as well, and you can take part. You can actually answer that there on Instagram. So do go to Wow Ergonomics. If you've got anything that you feel that, like a room that you feel is a complete disaster, or you've got a question about ergonomics, anything, do share it with us on our Instagram account, and we might even bring it into the show in future.
Excellent.
So there we go. That's always exciting stuff, isn't it? Oh, it doesn't get any more exciting than that. Now we have got our guests. Finally, so we're going to bring in. Yes, he beat the technology. Oh, I can calm down now. I can calm down. Let's take away the paraphernalia. You do know that this show is sponsored by Back at Elkeyes, and other products are available, but you wouldn't want to buy them. And,
no, exactly.
And I can now bring in Andrew Shepherd. There we go.
Good morning.
You made it. You made it.
I did. Yes. Sorry, sadly signed in on the wrong format, but there we go.
No, it's fine. I'm intrigued by your mise en scène there in the background, because you seem to have both shirts and DVDs in that cupboard. Is that right?
Well, this is a door, and on the back of it is shirts, but behind, yes, are lots of old tech.
Old tech, love a bit of old tech.
It looks like he's like sort of like a Blockbuster store's been sort of opened up in Andrew's house, doesn't it?
Membership cards are available.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, I miss Blockbusters in a way. Fantastic. Yeah. Andrew's laughing, but come on, it was as much entertainment actually just visiting the store to go through all of the empty boxes and realize that, or actually the visit back when you realize that you're missing one of them.
Yeah. Do we need to explain to the younger viewers what Blockbusters was and what a VHS tape is, and are we going front loading or top loading?
Oh well, we might need to, but there was that wonderful Jack Black film a few years back. Where did you see that film where he had to remake all of the videos in the store?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay. It's a brilliant film. Can't remember. It's something Rewind or whatever. But ultimately, he's in charge of a video store. If you want to know what Blockbuster was really like, this is what it's really like. Yeah. Anyway, so an accident happens. All of the stores in all of the tapes in the store get erased. So rather than own up to it, he and his mate then get a video camera and then remake all of the films.
Okay, they didn't think to put a little piece of sellotape over the top corner then.
No, that would have done it, wouldn't it? That would have done it. But the best thing about it was his films then became more popular than the original films, and then people were yes.
But that was always the thing, though, wasn't it? You'd go on a sort of a Friday evening to sort of hire one, and you'd be looking, and you'd be. I think you were told, you'd go to the box and you'd look for it, and there'd be no sort of cassette in there, and you would just because you thought it was there, but it wasn't. They sort of gave you it and then sort of took it away from you, didn't they?
Yeah.
A roller coaster of emotions.
It really was. It really was, and they never had the film that you wanted to get out anyway. So you always had to go with something else instead. Sir, you're here to talk to us primarily, probably a little bit about chairs. Just explain to people that don't know you who you are and what it is that you do.
Well, I am Andrew Shepherd, and I have the privilege of looking after the ergonomic industry at the UK. So from the latest aspect, I'll be asking advice, prices, updates, fabrics, all the exciting stuff of looking after the dealers across the UK. But equally, always try to make sure that they get the right chair for the individual.
Absolutely. And what is the right chair for the individual? How do we even start going with that?
Well, the right chair, it's a tricky one because everybody's different. So is there a right chair? I suppose from my perspective, I'm going to say yes, it's the Axia. It's the best chair in the world, but I'm slightly biased on that. Other chairs are available, of course.
You're allowed to be biased. You're a guest on the show.
Yeah, but bias is fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, but no, it's down to individual needs. I don't think there's any to suggest out there what chair is right for any one given person. Everybody's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you start, Andrew? Where does the process start? You get called in, someone asks for some advice on a chair, almost cradle to grave, as it were. What's the starting point that you go from, and what are the sort of the key steps that help you decide what that best chair is for someone?
Well, obviously, you need to have a little bit of background as to if there are any specific medical requirements we need to go to. But I suppose from a day-to-day basis, most of them are just a traditional bad back inquiry. So it's just getting the right support. So having a little bit of conversation about the background, but equally, I like to try and find out what the person does during their work day, because it's equally as important to have the chair to support them when they move or the tasks that they're performing. As to have it to be individually adjustable to themselves as well. So you try and cover all the bases if you can.
Now, the thing is, what we've seen over the past couple of years is a mass exodus from offices, people working from home. And that's kind of really changed the game up a little bit, because once people move to home, not only are they looking for a chair that is an office chair, that does what they need it to do in an office situation, but quite often they're then starting to look for something that fits in with their home, and and maybe has other requirements to it as well, like the fact that children can't pull pieces off of it, or anything like that. Now, and that's led to things like this. We're just going to share something with you a second. So here we go, share screen. And I'm going to pick a little Chrome tab so I can share this with everybody. There. Now, here we go. This is a story that kind of broke in the last week or so, which is that McDonald's have designed the ultimate gaming chair for simultaneous snacking and playing. Marvelous. Well done there.
Well, I saw this yesterday, and my first thought was, I bet they will have a McFlurry load of inquiries for that.
Oh, that joke's already.
Yeah.
That's
goodness,
wonderful.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And will there be an option to go large?
Well,
supersize me. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No. Yeah. Probably. I don't. It's and no one will have the salad version of it. But it's. But ultimately, I mean, and we don't want to knock anybody's chair on this. And if McDonald's want to bring a chair out, they want to bring a chair out, which is fine. And there's a market for everybody. But there's a danger with that. And I think a lot of us immediately looking at it, we're probably less concerned about the fact that there's a chair there, and more concerned with the fact that what's it trying to promote in terms of sedentary lifestyle, etc. Because I certainly was, because I've talked to some people over the last couple of years who have really concerned me about the amount of time they've actually spent in the chair. Now, even as someone that's selling chairs on a day-to-day basis and would be encouraging people to use one of your chairs, one of the things you must say to people is, yeah, but there's a time to not be in the chair as well, right?
No, well, absolutely. We always try to promote active sitting, so there's a big education program in making sure people, if they invest in our product, we want to make sure they know how to use it, how to adjust it, because we don't want to promote static sitting. So, use the mechanism, open it up. Again, it's task dependent, and everybody's different on how they would approach their focused tasks, as whether they want to be standing, whether they want to be sitting. But we try and advocate that with best advice or education with the equipment they've got, to use it as best as possible. But from a personal perspective, I try to follow the 28-2 rule. Sit for 20 minutes, stand for 8 minutes, move for 2 minutes. So whilst we're trying to get them into the best chair possible, we don't want them to sit still. We still want them to move, and for their own health benefits. We need to encourage them to move, do something different, not sit statically.
So not a chair then where you can eat in it as well as game in it, as well as work in it, and there's a button on it where you press it and deliver ooey 2 minutes later you get your fast food and you haven't even had to get up and go to the door. Not
ideal, and I suspect that chair will fit somebody, but for the masses there probably wouldn't be enough adjustment in it to sit comfortably for an extended period of time.
Well, let's hope it grows with you as you sit in it.
I expect you will mold to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I expect so. Maybe it just comes in extra large to begin with.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that you slowly but surely fill the chair.
Well, lots of nuggets of information there.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Oh my
word. Do you think that chair's made so that the drinks container will only fit a McDonald's one and say a KFC or whatever? When you buy things that only their accessories will work, will it be designed that no one else's fast food can sort of sit inside those compartments, thus securing them a bit more sort of share of the market, as it were?
Well, I don't suppose that Domino's will work on that, will it?
No. Would they not want a piece of the action?
Or a slice?
Slice. Yeah. Slice of the oh no!
I mean, let's be honest. Chris Barlow, friend of the show, did expect there to be a lot of dad jokes today. He did call it out yesterday, and to be fair, we haven't disappointed so far.
But Domino's probably will make one because they are interested in dough.
And the great thing is, we didn't even prepare any of these. These are just like off the cuff. They're just rolling, aren't they?
I know. It kind of reminds me of that program that I watched on TV over the week. No, actually, I think it was during the week, about all of those celebrities becoming queen for the night, etc. And they, all did the transformation into drag. But the comedy aspect of it was pretty awful. Yeah,
it's going to be difficult to top this one.
It certainly will. It certainly will. I'm people. Sorry, I have to apologise now. If the car in front of you has just been swerving on the motorway, it's because they were listening to this. Okay, so
yes, it will be Chris Barlow
on his way to York,
with a Logic in the back of his van.
Yeah. That sounded a little bit like that Cluedo game, didn't it? It was Chris Barlow on his way to York with the whatever it was, at the Axia in the back, a bit like Mr. Professor Plum with the candlestick in the library or something.
I don't think Andrew really wants to see his chairs seen as murder weapons, but there we go. So in all seriousness, so what kind of differences have you seen over the last 2 years in terms of how the market's been reacting to the change of how people have been working?
Well, lots of differences, really. Obviously, being at home is a key factor. But there's been lots of talk, people wanting to buy the right chair, but lots of misinformation on the internet and other resources. people promoting chairs that are perceived to work in a certain way, but perhaps they don't. So I think people need to be careful. There's lots of misinformation out there, but from our perspective, whenever the inquiry comes in, we try to do the right thing. But it's also the different ways of working. We see lots of the ironing board working a kitchen worktop, which is fine in isolation for a few minutes here and there. There's not a major issue with that. But even walking through a large corporate the other day, they've focused and they've managed what they consider to be the office of the future. So there's less desks and lots of different ways of working with touchdown areas, sofas, collaboration areas, etc. But the one thing that really shocked me is the amount of people still using laptops, sitting on an unsuitable chair for extended periods of time, looking down, whether it be sitting or standing. To me, it's just the education that needs to change. The whole story needs to make people aware of what's going on and how they can look after themselves better, shall we say. That to me is the sadness of this situation. It's great to have lots of different ways to do things, but it's making sure people know that that for a short period of time that's fine. But for an extended period of time, you need to look after yourself, because you as an individual are going to have the problems in months and years to come.
In some ways, we started moving towards the right way of doing all of this, which is companies saying to individuals, you actually sort out your own chair. So rather than us necessarily buying a set of project chairs and, everybody in the same office getting the same chair, and then let's try and mold people into whatever it is that we bought. Because people were working from home, we started moving towards, you get what's right for you. And actually, if that then translates back into the office, as it might do, when people start coming back in, then it'll be awful for architects, because offices won't look great. In terms of you took a photo of it, the chairs will be up, down, here, there, left, right, and centre, and all look maybe different colours. But people will be comfortable. The trouble is that companies haven't necessarily allocated enough money. let's be honest about this. And the reality is that good things cost. Now, talking about the gaming chair, interestingly, over the weekend, last weekend, my wife and I went to London for the weekend, and we were walking down Leicester Square, and there's a new shop with gaming chairs in it. And in the window were a couple of these wonderful looking gaming chairs. And they do look very nice, very flashy and all of that, all nice racing colours. I can see the attraction for people. But actually, they were about £1,200 each. And now, that was a bit of a shocker for me, because a lot of the gaming chairs that people buy are cheap as chips, and you can understand why people might buy them, because they think, this might offer quite a lot at the right price. But ultimately, what's interesting is that there is actually the range there, even in the gaming chair side of things. But ultimately, is the gaming chair the right sort of thing for somebody to be working on? Can you not achieve that with something else that's perhaps a little bit more adjustable? And especially if you're going to go up to that sort of money.
Well, yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, we tend to do a lot of research into any of our chairs that come out, to make sure that they're right for what they do, and sort of we follow very much sort of the science of sitting, if you like. So they look at the biomechanics, the anthropometrics, just to make sure that when a chair comes to market, that it's, and I hate the phrase, but fit for purpose. So it can suit a lot of the people. You're aiming for the 95th percentile, if you like. Now, difficult to find one chair that fits all, but there are enough good products out there that will suit a lot of people. But from a gaming perspective, when the idea of it is, you're on a fixed focus task, you're concentrated for extended periods of time. There's an ideal scenario when you want to look at the best possible option and want to make sure that the people who are making these chairs have looked into that and they've done their research, so the body can be supported as best as possible. So when you are sitting, you're supported as best as you possibly can. Now, I have an opinion, rightly or wrongly, that a lot of this type of gaming chair manufacturers are perhaps not looked into the science. They've jumped on a bandwagon. It's a marketing exercise. The chairs do look good, and they will ultimately be right for some people. But for people in perhaps like in esports, and you're getting a lot of this now popping up in universities and colleges, that they're focusing on these tasks. You're going to be sitting there for an extended period of time. You really need a chair that's going to support you. And I would cite something like the RH Logic. So when that was originally in its designed stages, they were working with the Norwegian Air Force specifically to try and to look at how the body works under G-force, under pressure, looking at how the blood count works within the body, so blood circulation, air circulation, and they produce what they called a Tibet cushion, which sits up here behind the shoulder blade, which opens up the chest cavity, expands the lungs, allows for better circulation, and therefore by default it helped the fighter pilots gain an extra 10 minutes of flight time. Now, if you then bring that backwards into a chair and apply those principles, then you can sit for an extended period of time and your concentration levels will be higher. So therefore that's better for that kind of solution. And that's the kind of things that we look into to try and get the best chair for the individual. So when we're having the conversation, regardless of who you're doing and what you're doing, we want to understand. So we put forward the right solution. We want to sell chairs. We want to sell the right chair.
Absolutely. It's really interesting though, isn't it? And it comes back, and we've had similar discussions, Graham, about some of the products that we do as a business. But there is a reason why some products out there come at a higher price tariff, because of the adjustability, because of the investment and the research that goes into making these products. And it's really important that that message gets out there, and people aren't just swayed by the fact that someone sticks the word ergonomic in front of a chair or any piece of it. And you roll in your eyes because we've done this one to death. And I know, Andrew, we've spoken about it, but it's really, really important that people don't just go, oh, it's really expensive and da-da-da-da. There's a reason why. What it's going to give you is going to be of a really high quality. It's going to have research, functionality, adjustability. And I think that's really, really important. And people see beyond the nice color, the low price, the word ergonomic. They really need to think about these things to stop buying products that are wrong and are actually going to make the problem worse. And then the problem becomes is that they've bought the wrong product and the budget's burned and they've got nothing to replace it with.
And the biggest education piece, surely, it has to go with management. It has to go alongside the people that are allowing the purse strings to be opened up anyway for this equipment, because it's a complete waste of money if you say to someone, okay, well, there you are, there's 200 quid for a chair. And ultimately, they sit in it for 5 minutes, then they start getting issues. The chair starts falling to pieces after a year, etc. You're going to have to buy 5 of them anyway. And, ultimately, you're going to end up with someone that off sick because they haven't actually got the right piece of equipment to support them.
Also, we look from an environmental standpoint. You say about some of the more budget price chairs that when we're looking at our chairs, if we take the new Logic and isolation, it's about 6 years in research and development, not only trying to improve the chair from a functional point of view, but equally from an environmental point of view as well. So when our chairs are made, there's no glues, no staples, so they're easy to disassemble, they're easy to fix. Ultimately, if and when they go to landfill, there's no harmful chemicals in there. So it's all these things that add up just to make sure that the product is ticking lots of boxes. What we try and do is, when we say glues and staples, so ultimately, if a chair ends up in landfill, the glue will leach out into the environment. If there's staples involved, it's difficult to disassemble. Difficult to repair. So all these things are put into the chairs to make sure that if somebody wants a fashion change, i.e. cover change, we can just pull the cushions off and put new ones on. They're clip on, clip off. If you're looking at the issue of somebody leaving, we can click a lever and we can slide the back off. We can put a smaller back on. We can take a small cushion off. We can put a large cushion on. So again, these corporates are not looking to supply a new chair. We can supply a new cushion or a new backrest. So you don't have this graveyard of chairs in the back of the office that aren't suitable or or usable for anybody. So the whole goal really is to expand the life cycle and make sure that when these products are out there, they can be used for an extended period of time, and be used and recycled at the end of their life, and not just end up in landfill.
Stephen mentioned it a minute ago. Do you think that one of the things that hasn't helped the trade per se is the fact that sort of not misinformation so much as sort of poor information or bad information, or even just a lack of actual detail? So I mean, it's so easy for someone to like put up a picture of a chair, say that's a bad chair, this is a good chair, buy this one, this one's ergonomic.
Yeah, no, it's difficult. I know there was a post on LinkedIn yesterday. A few people commented on a bad chair. Well, it might have been bad for that one person, but who's to say it's not going to be right for somebody else? Not enough information is provided in some respects in a photograph. It's a snapshot. It's a moment in time, and we can only deduce what we can from what we can see in front of us. But it doesn't give you the full picture. But yes, it's a tricky one. I think a lot of companies will use it for a marketing ploy because they've got an adjustable chair, which is wonderful. It's a step up, and the more adjustments it's got, the better it's got. But people still need to know how to adjust it and use it and it's best for them. It's sad. There's a lot of misinformation. The word ergonomic is overused, but sadly, it's a ploy to sell chairs, and if you're in the business of selling things, you grab every opportunity you can. Yeah,
true. Shame though, isn't it? Well, while we're at it, I'd just like to sell our new T-shirt.
It's not an ergonomic T-shirt, is it, Graham?
Oh, absolutely. It's got
built-in back support.
It's got holes in it. It's got several holes in it. It's got one for the head, two for the arms, one for the body. All to enable you to get your body into that T-shirt in the best way possible.
One size fits all.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you wash it at 60 degrees or over, it will start at XL, but it will shrink to your body size.
Perfect. Levi's.
But that's the trouble, isn't it? That is exactly how a lot of chairs are being sold, or that's how a lot of products within this industry are being sold. It's almost like the one size will fit all. Anything goes. As this product, here's the adjective, ergonomic, put that on the front of it, bish bash bosh, there you go. All good. It's like selling, it's like old-fashioned, and I don't want to be rude to the industry, but it's like old-fashioned car salesman, isn't it? That's what it sounds like, and our industry kind of needs to get away from that, really, because it's
a few people. I've noticed that Guy Osmond has tried to claim back that word ergonomics because it's overused, it's misused, it's misrepresented on the internet, and it's a shame because people are buying into what they read and sadly ending up with the wrong product.
In fact, you mentioned Guy there. The first time I met Guy, I used the word ergonomic incorrectly, and I received a very strong rap across the knuckles from Mr. Osmond. So I haven't done it again since.
I think adjustable is the key, is the way forwards.
Let's change it. Let's use a different word. So in future, this will be wow mango. And we will be using the word mango to describe any product which is fit for purpose. Be more exciting, mightn't it?
Just a quick one. Something you mentioned earlier, Andrew, and we talked about chairs and home, etc. There was a piece at the time, or a conversation thread at the time, around the suitability of a chair to be in the office and at home, with concerns around regulations and things like that. I mean, is a chair for the office still okay to be used at home? Does it have impact on electrics, insurance at home, that sort of thing? It was talked about, but it sort of maybe that conversation got a bit lost in everything that was going on. So
Yeah, I've lost the thread of that a little bit, but from a corporate standpoint, and I don't believe it's been written into law, but I believe it's more guidance. But please correct me if I'm wrong. But obviously, for a domestic user, we need to comply with CMHR, so the combustion modified high resilient foams for domestic use. Obviously, with also a BS 5852, I think it is compliant fabric. So it gives a medium hazard fabric, so suitable for the domestic environment. Now, that can also be used in the workplace.
Okay.
But the workplace as general has a slightly lower standard. So you can go to ignition source 0 and 1 fabrics and a more standard foam. Flock as a policy use high resilient foams as an absolute standard across their chairs. So it's a higher than standard, but of course it's not combustion modified. So whenever we sell chairs into a domestic environment, we always make our dealers or clients aware that if it is for domestic use, we must use the CMHR foam upgrade.
Okay.
For us, it's an option, 100%, and that's down to the chemicals used in the foam to make it fire retardant. Obviously, from our environmental standpoint, we don't like to use those chemicals. So that's why it's an option for us to do so. So going forwards again, it's down to that end of life scenario. The chemicals, when they leach into the environment, will arguably do more harm than good. So it's an option, and from us, it's an advisory thing to do. But equally, yes, those products can be used in a commercial workspace, but it doesn't necessarily work the other way.
Right. Okay.
Excellent. Tell me, as we've talked a little bit about the fact that there's been a change in the type of work or where people have been working, etc. Has that had an impact on you and the business? Have you seen that more of your deliveries are going to different types of places? For example, are more of your chairs actually going into the home? Are you seeing sort of less stuff going into offices per se, or maybe they're going into kind of shared office spaces?
It's a difficult question to answer because we don't necessarily know where the chairs end up. It's only with interaction through our dealer network that we sort of understand who the projects are for and when they go. So difficult question to answer, but through our dealer network, so we will work with them to deliver to a dealer warehouse, in which case we won't know who the end user is unless we've been heavily involved in the project. Ultimately, we do also or can also send our chairs direct to the end user, obviously all via the dealer, in which case then we ultimately know who the end user is. So yes, we have been doing more domestic deliveries. And that certainly was the case throughout the lockdown period. As a manufacturer, we operated throughout that process, but had to work with several external delivery agents to make sure the chairs ended up where they needed to end up. So it's a real mix, but overall, as a business, from a sales perspective, the numbers are up. We look carefully at monitoring the sales, so we do know, for instance, something like the Hawk Bisco is very popular from a domestic perspective because it's different. It has a different look. People like it. It's an attractive. It's quite a stylish chair, and people don't mind it in their home workplace. But that's the biggest issue when it goes to home. People are buying on looks as opposed to functionality per se. So that's a little bit of a different sell or advice.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got thousands of architects out there now. Yeah, as opposed to the one or two looking after a commercial building. You've got people who have probably spent time actually doing their house up.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, because there was nothing else to do. And having done that and then created an office space at home, they want it to look just the way they want it to look.
No, absolutely. And it's the same at home. I'm lucky to be able to have a few different chairs to choose from. I'm currently sitting on an Axia, but my wife wants me to change it. She doesn't like it.
Oh, right.
It doesn't look right. But who's to say what's meant to look right with this background?
Well, the thing is, you can't even see the chair at the moment, right? So actually, it's a perfect chair for the background in that respect.
Well, absolutely, and that to me is one of the misconceptions about buying a chair, because you look at it and you buy it on looks, but when you're sitting in it, you never see it.
No.
Yeah.
No, that is very true indeed. I mean, with that, let's extend that on. People buying chairs for the home and making it and wanting it to fit in. The other misconception that's always been there is that office type chairs probably only come in, and you mentioned fabrics a minute ago, but only come in sort of very commercial type fabrics. But again, that's not true, is it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we work with a number of fabric houses, Chimera, Kvadrat, Gabriel. There are literally, and I'm sure I'm not over egging it here, but there are millions and millions of options available, colors, materials, compositions, etc., etc. So, but all you need to look at from a domestic environment is just to make sure it fits the fire standards. That's the only thing you really need to look at. So that narrows down the field, but you'll still have plenty of texture and color options to choose from.
Yeah, you don't have to have black, folks. There you go.
No, indeed not. No, it's a quick fix. It's a quick sell. If you want a chair now, sadly the options tend to be black or black.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we're no different to a lot of manufacturers. If you want a color, it's generally sort of 4 to 5 weeks. Sometimes it can be a little bit quicker, but it's not an extended period of time to wait for if you want it in the right color.
Yeah. But it's always surprised me, actually, because, when people go out and they're sort of looking in one of those superstores, etc., at chairs, and they go, oh, well, yeah, look, there's a beige option, there's black, there's blue, and then there's beige. Oh, maybe we go for beige. That's really different. No, come on. Actually, talk to a proper seating manufacturer. You could probably have something a little bit more exciting than.
Yeah.
Well, you could, don't talk to me about colour, says he, wearing grey.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want beige, beige is available, and you really can go with beige. Well, was there anything that you saw over the last couple of years happen outside of the seating realm in terms of ergonomics that made you sort of stop and think?
Well, I suppose the big thing for me, and I suppose I've noted it myself, is eye health.
Yep.
People obviously concentrating, looking at a small screen. Laptops are far more in use now as a home screen. I think people need to look at external screens. Using plugins and having a bigger screen to look at. Follow the 20-20-20 rule. I personally have seen I believe my eyesight has deteriorated over lockdown. I spent far too much time staring at a small screen. And I think that's going to have a knock-on effect, and a lot of people, I believe, will resonate with that.
Well, it's interesting because actually reading earlier in the week about various conditions which are on the up in terms of eye conditions, and actually that it's quite scary. There's a number of conditions which are not just poor eyesight, but actually can lead to partial vision or even complete lack of vision, which are on the increase, and part of that is down to increased amount of time in front of computer screens or phone screens, etc., and also poorer diet for a lot of people as well.
Well, indeed, but I think a lot of people, that perhaps they don't understand, the eye is made up, I think, of about 8 muscles, and they need to be worked and activated. And it's the same as sitting. If you're sitting in a static position, nothing's working. And likewise, if you're at a fixed focal length for a period of time, your eyes are being overworked doing that one task. So you need to change the focal length. You need to look at something else for a period of time to exercise the muscles in your eyes, get them working properly. And looking at a laptop screen, on average, 15 inches at an arm's length away, fixed focal length, your eyes are going to be under massive strain. So, there's an important message there to get out to people to, look after yourself in every way, shape or form.
Yeah, absolutely. And the horror signs are there. I don't know whether you remember from a couple of years back, we had Emma, didn't we? That a certain company came out with, and they showed us that the BBC have launched another version of that was AI generated this week as well.
Have you got a picture?
I'll see if I can find a picture. Yes, I have got a picture.
Graham's scrambling around there. Come on.
Okay. Let me see if I can get this picture up. Right. I have to see if I can put that in here. Okay. Oh yes, I can certainly do this.
Okay, here we go.
If you're at home, by the way, at this point where nobody's talking, put the kettle on or whistle. Either of those will do. Okay. Whistling while you work is a really good thing. Yeah. So here we go. Here's the image.
Oh, okay.
So just to cover some of the things that we see here.
Right.
Obviously, we see hunching of the neck from overuse of laptops, etc. We've got like a clawed hand from sort of overuse of things like mobile phone, etc. And we have a second eyelid as well. Second eyelid in there,
Right.
which people think might evolve because of trying to protect the eye from this kind of overstimulation through different things. So yeah, quite interesting there.
Interesting and scary at the same time.
I think scary. Forget interesting. I think scary was the overriding thought for me there. What was with the sort of the G.I. Jane buzz cut as well?
I think that was just to over accentuate the scariness of it all. But I mean,
people with not much hair are quite scary, aren't they?
Do you think so? Let's ask Andrew. Andrew, have you got an opinion on that? But ultimately, I mean, we're beginning to see more and more of these kind of images appear, and you know, and I know some people like Guy Osmond has said, you know, it's a bit over the top, you know, and I think he's right. You know, we shouldn't be trying to scaremonger people really, but at the same time, you know, ultimately, I don't think a lot of people really get it. I don't think a lot of people really understand until it's happened to them that actually doing all of this stuff wrong and actually overworking in one particular way, or overusing computer screens all day long, or sitting badly all day long and not getting any exercise, but it's all fine. It's okay. We can just do it, you know. But the body can cope with it until it
won't happen to me.
It won't happen to me until it happens to you. But the figures show it. I mean, the amount of people in the UK with MS, musculoskeletal disorders or back issues is huge.
Yeah. I did speak to somebody recently also about sort of, you know, a similar vein, but mental health issues and students, and the fact that, you know, the amount of students now are seeking assistance has gone up by 50%. You know, so that's, you know, from a mental health aspect, you know, so in every area that we look at, but that sadly that's how we learn about these things, isn't it? It's all retrospective. It's all reactive. We're dealing with an issue that's already happened. We need to get there first.
And we're broadcasting live today on several platforms. Twitter, hi Elon, and he's not looking at this. He's probably not even looking on Twitter. Then LinkedIn, you know, we're going out on different platforms, but we've seen it all for ourselves as well on the different platforms, that the amount of posts on a regular basis about physical health, mental health, etc., from people within business over the last few years has, you know, gone up exponentially, hasn't it? I mean, it's, you know, people are talking about it more, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the same time, there seems to be more of a prevalence to it. And why, you know, I mean, are we working longer? Are we just becoming more aware?
Well, yeah, awareness is good, but I think working longer, yes. You know, that's one of those things with working from home. You know, unless you're very regimented, it's very easy to blend from work to home, from home to work, because it doesn't stop. You know, and I'm as guilty as that as anybody. You know, the phone's always at my side, whether I'm downstairs, upstairs, it's always with me. And if it's something I can react to quick and provide a quick answer, I'll do it. But I like to have my downtime, you know. But there aren't really any boundaries, except perhaps when it gets to the weekend. But if the phone goes, if there's an email pops, I'll still have a look, because I'm preparing myself ready for Monday. But that's just how I work, how I operate. Everybody else is going to be different. I find it personally difficult to shut down completely away from work. But that's me. You know, does it affect me? Who knows? I'm okay at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think it's the same for lots of people out there.
Yeah,
I think you actually have to program, for a lot of people, you actually have to program downtime into your day, because if you don't actually program it in, it just doesn't happen.
We all need an escape of some sorts, and to me, that's what the weekends are for. I have my escape at the weekend, of which Stephen knows about. But that brings its own set of problems.
Frustrations.
Indeed, yes.
Sometimes it's actually about getting it out of the way within the day as well. I mean, I think it's quite interesting. We had Mark Waldron on here a couple of weeks back, and he runs a network group. One of the things they do every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, early doors, is they do something called networking. And I quite like the concept of that in a way, because in a way, how many people wake up on a Saturday morning, especially if you're your own business owner or whatever, and you're still thinking about work? You shouldn't be.
No,
you should be in the moment, but you're still thinking about work. But the concept there is that, look, get up before anybody else really gets up. Go meet with a whole load of business people. Talk about the stuff that you're going to be thinking about all weekend anyway. If not, resolve stuff with other business people. Get it out of the way. Then actually focus on your family and whoever else that actually care. You should be caring about for the rest of the weekend. Kind of put it to bed, really. And I think we all have to kind of evolve into those kind of processes, really, where we go, right, actually I am going to designate time to actually deal with this, get it sorted, rather than just hold on to it. And I think that's half the problem with the mental health battle. I think people are holding on.
And it's educating yourself, isn't it? If you know you've got issues yourself, you need to find a way within yourself that works for you to release those stresses, whatever it may be. And again, so everybody's different, aren't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So there is no simple plan out of this. And the same goes for businesses in their workplace. They're trying to find the right way forwards for them and their staff, but every business is different. They're all individuals and they all work in different ways. So you've got to find the right path for you.
Now, one of the last questions we've got to ask Andrew before he goes, whilst we've got a seating expert here, is Andrew, do you know why people sit on their legs on chairs?
No.
Well,
is it a cry for help in some way?
I am glad that I'm here to answer that question. Okay. Quite often people sit on their legs, and you can tell when people sit on their legs on chairs, because quite often there is either on the left hand or the right hand side of the chair at the front, there's wear and tear, and quite often you actually see like the foam starting to come through where they've worn the chair away by actually rubbing it with their shoe. So there's the telltale sign. And I used to perform it almost like a magic trick when I was assessing. I used to go in and go, "You sit on your legs, don't you?" And they went, "How do you know that?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, I can see from the chair how you sit. But quite often the reason being is because actually they've got tightness in and around their glutes on one side.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So actually by sitting on the leg, they actually kind of relieve that pressure on the glutes. So actually it's actually down to, they ought to be standing a little bit more and actually releasing that glute pressure. So it's a good exercise there. There you go.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. I've learned something.
We learn
every day is a school day.
Every day is a school day on here. Andrew, it's been a pleasure having you on today. What's the favourite film in the collection, by the way?
I'm going to go back a few years, but I'm going to have to say The Life of Brian.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, always look on the bright side of life, eh?
Indeed, yeah. Always try to be the popular people's front.
Oh, fantastic. Listen, Andrew Shepherd, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, as always. You can follow us and listen again to Andrew on wowergonomics.com. You can also tune into all of the madness and fun on Instagram now. We have our own Wow Ergonomics account. We have actually been following Andrew Shepherd's business, Flock, on there this week. Some of them might come on and say hello. You never know. I think maybe one of them has even followed us. But you can do that as well. You can follow. And if you have an ergonomic disaster at home, please put a picture up on our Instagram. We'd love that. We might even bring it onto the show. And if yours is chosen and it comes up here, Stephen will find something from the back at Elkhuizen warehouse to put on there. It might be an old pallet. It might it might just be an old cardboard box.
It'll be something good. It'll be something good, you know that.
Or it could even be some ergonomic equipment. Until next week, it's been us on Wow Ergonomics. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.